What is up, guys and gals? I'm your host, as always, Devon, and joining me equally as always is Rick.
And I'm also the host of The Retrospective, as you may know. Hello!
Yes. So today's a bit special. Today we've compiled a few things together into one big episode. If you're listening via the audio platform, this will be new to you. However, if you're watching on YouTube, it's basically a compilation of all of our bonus episodes for the year. So, yeah, hope you enjoy, guys.
We saw the Spider-Verse, and I believe you have too.
Yes, we can both talk about this.
So, spoilers for the Spider-Verse. I think this was meant to have been a series, and because Sony doesn't have a streaming platform, they made it into a movie. Because the setup of at least like the first half of the movie felt very episodic, and I say that in the best way possible because it was the part of the movie that I liked the best.
I mean, I liked the big giant chase scene, which I think is probably what most people gravitate towards too. In fact, I actually found the origin stories to be quite boring.
Okay, but I like how they're campy in that blah 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 radioactive spider, you know the rest.
Oh yeah, no, I meant specifically with Gwen and Miles. Like, it's something we touched upon in the first Spider-Verse film, which, I'm not gonna lie, apart from the big plot point of Miles being a Spider-Man, it feels like you could have just completely ignored the first Spider-Verse film.
To a degree, but skipping ahead quite a lot. The thing that they kept very quiet is the fact that, oh yeah, this is not the only sequel that they're doing, to the point that there was a big to be continued at the end.
I mean, okay, you watched this earlier than I did. I already knew after day one that, by the way, there's another Spider-Verse film, which means this film's not finished. So I knew that going in, and I think that softens the blow quite a bit. That being said, this is a 2-hour, 20-minute runtime, and that's a long time to have a film that's not finished.
Yeah, we were getting to the 2-hour mark, and we're like, man, nothing looks to be getting wrapped up yet, and most of the Spideys from last film have not appeared yet, and then they do in like the final scene, and that's it.
Final shot was the killer shot. I fucking loved it. I loved the fact that Penny Parker, Spider-Noir, and even fucking Porker were just like in
Spider-Ham.
they were just in the fucking final shot, and it's just like, the implication being they didn't even question anything. Gwen just turned up at their doorstep and said, yo, Miles is in trouble, and they're like, oh, he's a good kid.
Yeah. But the thing that really sealed it was we went to see it like early in the first week of coming out, so I've done my best to steer clear of spoilers, and we got the fact that when this happened, someone in the cinema just went, "You're joking!" really loudly, and cracked up laughing.
In case you didn't know, guys, Rick's Northern.
I'm the least northerner, which is weird.
A little bit.
Yeah. You've heard my folk.
Yes, I described your father quite often as just Wallace.
Yes.
I got spoiled on two things going into this film, and neither were really big spoilers, so I didn't really give a shit. One that was that Spider-Punk is featured quite heavily, which I was happy to hear, because I love Spider-Punk.
Yeah.
The other thing was that Peter B. Parker, which is the old man Parker, who, well, he's not old, but he is old compared to what age Peter usually is. Like, he's not 15 like the rest of the cast.
Yeah, Dad bod Spidey.
Yeah, he's got little Mayday with him.
Yeah, he does.
And there was a brief interview clip that was basically just saying, oh, originally we wanted Tobey Maguire to voice him, but we didn't want people to get confused. And I'm like, that's a weird thing to say. And I will tell you this, Sony Studios, specifically the studio that worked on Spider-Verse, they used their live action ties perfectly. The cutaway to Venom, fucking hilarious, loved it.
Yeah, that was great. Like, you had to know what you were looking at to realise what you were looking at.
Yeah, exactly. And I absolutely adored, oh fuck me, I've forgotten his name, but the live action Prowler. Oh fuck, what's his name?
Donald Glover.
I adored that because everyone seems to forget that his character name in the first Disney Spider-Man film was Aaron, because he's the Prowler in that. And we get to see him dressed up as full Prowler gear. Granted, it was only for like 2 seconds, but I loved it. It was awesome. And yeah, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, a lot more sympathetic in the actual film than what the trailers portrayed.
Yeah, he's given the role of antagonist, and he performs it perfectly in the film, and yet, you know, I thought he was a prick, but, you know, you kind of meant to when you're meant to be rooting for Miles.
He is a prick, absolutely, but what he said, from his point of view, he is entirely justified. And you know how I always say, I'm sick of villains being sympathetic? This is how you do it, by having them not be a villain, just being a bit of a dick.
Yeah, you have a dick who is the antagonist, and they don't see themselves as a villain because they're kind of not. They're just a knob.
It's one of those where Miguel is basically fulfilling the role of the TVA in the Marvel shows, and he's self-appointed sole curator of the Spider-Verse timeline, as it were. The problem is, I'm convinced that he is entirely wrong, and that he's missed something, but the problem is, he's doing this all on his own. He's got no no one to input and tell him, well, maybe that's not the case, maybe this, maybe that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, the thing that I can see as him being his failing is that he went to the wrong timeline and tried to take it for his own, and that's what probably made it collapse.
Fuck me, where's Madam Web when you need her?
In an upcoming movie, apparently. But yeah, that was our mini retrospective on the Spider-Verse, or across the Spider-Verse, sorry.
For those of you who are in the know, which I think most of the world is, at least our listeners, it is Pride Month. And, well, we didn't exactly pick anything on our to-do list for this month that's related to the month in hand. So we decided that before each episode, we'd pick a category of person, and who's a member of the LGBT community, and we just briefly, touch upon them and say, yeah, this is this person, this is why we decided to speak about them, say hello. I do the bad job of explaining that, but you'll get what I mean when we get into it. So, yes, this week's category is deceased members of the LGBT community. A bit of a grim subject, but I think there's more members who are deceased than are alive. So, yeah, Rick, would you like to go first?
Yeah, the one that I picked was one Freddie Mercury, one Farouk Bulsara. And the reason that I picked him is not only was he, a huge influence on my musical taste when I was growing up, there was always Queen playing when I was in my car seat as a baby. There is also something that's gone on this week about him and his works and his life, which is going to come up very shortly. But so how about you? Who is your person on the rainbow that you've picked as a deceased member of the community?
Mine's a bit more recently deceased, and in fact, I didn't know they were gay until you told me.
Okay.
That was one Kevin Conroy.
Ah, yes. How he said that him putting on the Batman voice and stepping into the role was like coming out the closet before he was able to come out the closet.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I picked Kevin Conroy for two reasons. One, Kevin Conroy was my Batman. I think I said that during the week of his passing, so it was quite a blow, shall we say. And the other reason is I think Kevin Conroy is a prime example of why Pride is important, because if you look at his memoirs and I think was it a book or a show? I think it was a book where it's behind the mask or something along those lines. He had to spend so much of his life hiding who he was.
Yes.
And I don't think anyone should have to do that.
Yeah, the whole point of Pride, be ashamed of, it's to be the opposite of shame, which seems to have been thrust upon the community by external forces.
Pretty much, man. Pride is, I don't know, I feel like it should be a symbol of, this is how far we've come in that, yes, you can just be gay, you can just be bi, you can just be lesbian, you can just be trans, without feeling as if your life will be impacted by letting people know that part of yourself.
Yeah. I feel it's really a belonging month.
Yeah. Not much more to say than that. We don't mean to get sappy and serious on the podcast, but, some things warrant it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there is one more for us on the cards. As we mentioned before, it is Pride Month. And what we're doing for Pride Month is we are briefly touching upon and highlighting certain members of the community, in this case, characters from the community, just because, it's Pride Month, it deserves a spotlight. Last week we did members of the community who are deceased, which was a pretty morbid one to start with, but I felt like a powerful one. This week we're being a bit more lighthearted. We're doing... How did we word this one, Rick?
We're doing fictional characters.
Right, yeah, there we go. We're doing fictional characters. So, Rick, I'll ask you first, as that seems to be the way. What fictional character who is on the LGBT rainbow do you wish to bring attention to?
I'm bringing attention to one Rain Whispers.
Yeah!
Simply because they are, possibly, from my experience, one of the first completely non-binary people to be front and center in a show like this. And this is not just shows up in one episode and then goes away. Rain becomes essentially a secondary character as soon as they're introduced.
Yeah, because that's one of the things with Double Trouble, who's the only other character I can think of who's non-binary, which is the nature of a shapeshifter, because they're a big part of season 4, but then season 5 they show up for 2 episodes and then fuck off.
Yes. Yeah, Rain becomes basically part of the main council of good guys.
Yeah.
The Bats.
Okay.
The Bats and the Cats.
I'm with Darius on that one. I'm not a big fan of the of the abbreviations.
But yeah, it was great seeing Rain at different parts of their lifetime. I really liked the flashback episode with young Rain and young Ida, and I wasn't expecting Ida's ex to grow on me so much.
Yeah, but because they're not really Ida's ex, are they? Because the flame of their relationship never dwindles or is at risk of dying. It's just the nature of the Owl Beast and Ida being secretive with it just meant the relationship was strained, and as soon as they had a chance, they reconciled.
Yeah, just rekindle the embers that never went out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rain Whispers for me all day of the week. How about you? Who is your fictional character pick of the rainbow?
Yeah, it was actually a bit of a struggle because a lot of cartoons recently, and let's be honest, it's going to be from a cartoon. I like cartoons, have been surprisingly LGBT inclusive. So with that in mind, I'm also going to pick one we did for the channel, and I'm picking Barney from Paranormal Park.
Ah, yeah.
Mostly because, I've got to be honest with you, I'm ignorant as fuck when it comes to transgender issues. I really am. I try to be as careful as I can, as inclusive as I can, but it really helps when you have a show that is from the perspective, is that the right word?
Well, when the protagonist is basically your window into a part of the culture, yeah. So
Perspective is the right word, that's all I'm asking.
yeah. Kind of from the perspective, but also, yeah.
Having a character who is part of that community and tackles those issues, being the point of view character for a show, is incredibly eye-opening, shall we say. Like, you're kind of vaguely aware of certain issues and challenges characters like this, or rather people like this, would face. And yeah, it tackles them in, I wouldn't even say a light-hearted manner, it's just the show is light-hearted, but the issues that it tackles are rather heavy. Specifically, the example they use is the grandmother of Barney can't really get over that hurdle, while his parents may not be the most accepting, but they can get over it, you know?
Yeah, I think the quote that stuck with me was the parent asking Barney, "Why don't you come home?" And Barney goes, "I can't until you really make it one."
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not the immediate it's not the immediate family of mother, father, and little brother that are the issue. It's the grandma and the fact that nobody sticks up for him.
Yeah.
But also another point is that I can count on one finger, and it's Barney, the number of transmasculine characters that I can just call to mind.
Yeah, I can't really think of any off the top of my head, and I even struggle thinking of trans femme characters, apart from Poison from video games, but that one's a bit iffy because it's clearly something that just got tacked on.
Yeah, they didn't want to hit a female character, so they made Poison trans femme.
Yeah, it's a very fucking weird decision.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I hate pandering with a passion. I hate when characters
You
get...
also hate pandas.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's neither here nor there. But, you know, it's awful when you encounter a character in a show who has been put in the show, or any form of media, just to tick a box and get an audience, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And I feel like the two characters we've brought up in particular are pretty good examples of, like, yes, they are part of the rainbow, but they're not there to, you know, give us your money, gays.
Yeah, it's part of their character, not their entire character.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. Shining a bit of a spotlight on the rainbow. This week, our chosen category is creators, so take it away, Rick.
I'm going to start. I had a honourable mention because I was sure he was on the rainbow somewhere, but I couldn't find enough details one way or the other, and it was one Hamish Steele. Because I couldn't find enough details, I've had to fall back on one Indy Stevenson. That's Nate Diana Stevenson, one of... we've spoken about him before. He's the creator of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. He's going to come into our circle of influence once again come next month when Nimona is out.
Rather annoyingly, it comes out on the very last day of June, which is a recording day for us at least, but...
Yeah.
It means when we actually review it, it won't be Pride anymore. But hey-ho diddly do. Fun fact, while I was doing a bit of research, Rick, because I too was going to nominate N.D. Stevenson, Mona's actually been around since 2015, and this is just a film adaptation of said comic.
Yeah. Speaking of comics, he also wrote Lumberjanes, which was published by Boom Studios, which are the studio that make the current Power Rangers comics.
Fair dues.
Which I thought was pretty neat.
Absolutely.
And also appeared in Critical Role if you're a fan of that. But yeah, that's my pick of the rainbow. Who is yours?
Yes, again, peeling back the curtain, before we started today, I told Rick, just say whoever you want, because I suspect we're going to say the same person, and we were going to.
Yes.
So, my pick instead goes to Rebecca Sugar.
Yes. Also a good pick.
Absolutely. According to Wikipedia, because that's as far as I'm going to dive, because I'm not creepy, they are a non-binary bisexual, which is firmly in rainbow territory. They are currently married to their spouse, who they've apparently been in a relationship for 8 years, but have only been married for 4. So yeah, for those of you who don't know who Rebecca Sugar is, they created Steven Universe, and before that they worked as a background artist, I want to say, on Adventure Time.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So yeah, apparently Marceline the Vampire Queen was influenced heavily by Rebecca Sugar, so You know, that's cool. If that wasn't cool enough, again, she created Steven Universe, which is the subject of our non-stop review every Wednesday. Haha, plug. And yeah, I think we picked two pretty solid representatives of the rainbow there, Rick.
Yeah, we did.
That means we need to address our final nod at the rainbow, so to speak. So this week's category is, of course, living influential person. So part of the LGBTQ community. That basically doesn't fit into any of the other categories. So, Rick, who are you going to give a nod to?
I had a bunch of people that I was considering, but after everyone, I swerved massively and picked one Cassandra Peterson.
I don't know who this is, Rick.
Have you heard of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark?
Evilra, maybe? I don't know.
Okay, you might have heard of a parody version of Elvira called Evilra. But yes, the idea is that on screen, she was the gothiest goth, tongue-in-cheek sex pot that there ever was, and off-screen, she had a wife, and it was only relatively recently that she was able to come out. She divorced from her husband in 2003, but she's been living with her partner, well, since 2002, but also been with her for far longer. The reason she didn't come out earlier was because it was cool to be gay at the time, and she didn't want to cheapen it by coming out back then.
I kind of get it, but it's such a weird flux of ideologies, because it really if you look at the history of I don't really know how to word this, but the LGBT community and how they've been treated by society, it's a real flip-flop, especially in show business, on whether it's okay to be gay, you know? You could literally point to years where, I'm pulling numbers out my arse because I haven't got specifics, but 1971, everybody came out as gay because it was the hip popular thing. 1972, no one could talk about it, they will commit career suicide.
Absolutely. And in a similar vein to Dolly Parton, although without quite as much surgery, she is an incredibly good-looking woman for her age. She's 71.
Fair enough, man. I think I know who you're talking about, but I've almost definitely only ever seen parodies of her. The specific one I'm thinking of is The Simpsons with
Booberella.
Yeah.
Burns has a heart as big as my boobs. But as Elvira, she had the Southern Belle accent and talked like a bimbo and everything, and that was part of the juxtaposition of looking like a goth and talking like a country girl.
Rick, you and I are both suckers for the Southern Belle accent, right?
But yeah, my pick of the rainbow, Cassandra Peterson. How about you? Who is your pick of the rainbow?
My pick of the rainbow is very obviously going to be Stephen Fry.
Yeah, when we were picking these categories, I basically called this the Stephen Fry category until we tried to define it around Stephen Fry without calling it just the Stephen Fry category.
I don't remember this conversation, but I still think Stephen Fry deserves the nod regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Weeble song puts it, Stephen Fry, national treasure.
I don't remember. Oh, I think that is something we discussed at one point off the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we got into like a 5-minute, 10-minute chat about fucking Magical Trevor, because that's how our minds work.
Well, the same Weeble.
But yeah, why do I want to give a nod to Stephen Fry? Well, he's just a nice guy. I don't know what else you want from me. Like, you could give this award to any number of people who I'd put in, like, the same caliber as Stephen Fry, in that just a nice guy who happens to be gay, like Graham Norton, etc. Like, they all just seem like pleasant people, you know?
Yes, Stephen Fry is possibly the most influential of them.
For those of you who don't know who Stephen Fry is, he was part of Fry and Laurie. He's a very good comedy guy. Rather intelligent, let's not beat around the bush on that front.
Oh, incredibly.
He can debate, he can be funny, and he was the host of QI for about 13 years.
Yes. He made it exactly halfway through the alphabet, saying that was always his intention, and then handed the torch over to Sandy.
Yeah, which is another person who could equally earn this mention. Let's not beat around the bush, which I will say often.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, Stephen Fry basically jumped on Twitter when Twitter first became a thing and made it his bitch. He knows how to use Twitter like a goddamn genius. I don't know how he's quite navigating the flat platform these days, but you can't exactly compare the Elon Twitter to the Twitter of yesteryear.
Yeah, exactly. I think he left Twitter quite a while ago.
That's fair. I just remember that he was quite savvy with it when it first came out. I believe he had a bitching match with either Ricky Gervais or Piers Morgan and ended it with, talk to you later, darling.
Both sound in character.
Exactly. He knows when to be serious and he knows when he can interject a bit of tongue-in-cheek.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, that does it for our Rainbow Spotlight.
The thing that did happen this week, though, was Nintendo Direct. So, are you ready for my text dump?
I am.
So, it started with the Pokemon DLC trailer.
Anything actually groundbreaking revealed here, or just, it's coming, here you go?
Nah. They showed us some of the new Pokemon that are in it that we've already seen. So, they just showed more of the zones. And the fact that, you can wear the festival clothing for the teal mask, and then back to wearing a uniform for the Indigo Island. Sonic Superstars, which we already know about, is going to have local co-op, and the Chaos Emeralds are essentially Infinity Stones now. Like, each individual one has a power. Like, one of them summons a bunch of clones.
I'm not against the idea, that's fine, but, they've been around for so long, they need to change them up a little bit, I get that, but
yeah,
it's a bit low effort, isn't it?
Well, to a degree, but also, like, they've just been MacGuffins. Having them actually have different powers is neat, and it's weird that it hasn't come up until now.
I bet you it has in an obscure comic.
Oh, yeah, like, going back to the 90s, the grey one was the one that controlled the others.
If you say so, man.
There is a free-to-play farming game called Palia.
Okay.
Looks like, something like Animal Crossing, but all humans.
So, none of the charm.
Yeah, pretty much. Persona 5 Tactica. We knew about this before from the Microsoft one, and since then you have revealed to me that they have revealed DLC.
Yeah, they said there's going to be DLC, and it's going to be the two extra characters, Akechi and Yoshizawa, which I think is rather scummy for obvious reasons.
Yep. Still kind of interested to see where it goes, but also, like you said in chat the other day, tired of them milking my baby.
Oh, I mean, I'm still going to play it because it's a tactics game, but Persona themed. That really does tickle my balls. But
yeah,
it's one of those where Switch is certainly not going to be the platform I play it on.
Yeah, I'd rather they fucking calm down. There's a thing called Myth Force. It's a first-person co-op Skyrim type thing, but the art style is based on like 90s, 80s Saturday morning cartoons.
Okay.
So it looks neat. We saw things happening that looked like, basically Skyrim hack and slash being first person. It'll be nice to see how it actually plays and how it actually reviews.
Yeah.
The next thing I've got is something Splatoon before moving on to the new Detective Pikachu.
Okay, so before we're glossing over it, Splatoon does this thing where their seasons are you pick a team, that team coincides with something silly. This time it's favourite ice cream flavour. So I believe the teams are strawberry, chocolate and vanilla. So you pick a team and you represent that team. Whichever team gets the most points in the season, that's the favourite thing. That's what everyone decides is the best. There you go, that's the Splatoon thing.
Yep. And Detective Pikachu, it looks pretty well made. The movie I like. I didn't play the old Detective Pikachu.
I didn't know it was a real game, to be honest. I thought it was just something they made up for a movie. I don't know anything about the game, just like you.
I think it was on like the 3DS or something. But the next one had people actually going mental in chat while I was watching this live. The Super Mario RPG remake.
Yes, I'm excited for this. Do you know why?
Because you never got to play it because it was never released in the UK.
I didn't know it wasn't released in the UK. Regardless, my first console was the PlayStation 1 and it pretty much just evolved from there. So I would never have had the means to play this. I've sometimes been tempted to go back and play it, and I look at it and it's not aged well.
Nah, it's one of those games where they tried to use SNES 3D and it didn't go well. It may have been the last game that Square Enix did with Nintendo, because back then they were...
It was because afterwards Nintendo fucked them on the PlayStation deal, so Sony made PlayStation. That's how the story goes.
Until then, they were basically the Rareware of RPGs, more or less second-party Nintendo. They had exclusivity and they were really good buddies until they weren't. Except with Rare, they were bought rather than, choosing to leave.
Yeah, Sony got dicked over hard on that deal. If they didn't push through and release their own console as a result, they probably would have gone babankrupt. Well, at least the video game division.
Yeah, totally. And we got a mini teaser for something Super Princess Peach in 2024. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the 3DS game, is getting a remaster in 2024.
See, this is the cynic in me, but it feels like we're going to get a lot of this going forward of 3DS, I'm using air quotes, remakes and remasters for the Switch, what with the 3DS store now gone.
Yes, and things generally from, it's now 2 console generations ago, being crushed down onto the Switch hardware. Just Dance, something, don't care. Silent Hope, it has 7 silent protagonists, and it's a roguelike with crafting, and the only person in the entire world that seems to be able to speak is a princess, who speaks to you with psychic powers while encased in a cocoon made of her own tears.
Fun!
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Rick, but I don't actually like roguelites or roguelikes. I've never actually determined which one is the correct pronunciation, question because I've seen both on the Steam pages.
There's both. Roguelike is when it's very much like Rogue. Roguelite is when they take some mechanics and not others.
Sure. The only one I've liked is Hades, and I like it a lot. I guess Vampire Survivors is kind of a bit similar with the randomness.
Kind of. You got the macro game. I think technically anything that has a macro game is roguelike, because to be true roguelike, you have to basically start from zero each time, apart from your knowledge.
Right. That being said, I think one of the reasons why I don't like them is because there is a shit zillion of them on Steam.
Oh, yeah.
Especially roguelike card builder games. They can fuck off.
Yeah, splitting up a bit, we've got Fae Farm, Hot Wheels 2, Manic Mechanics, which is like Overcooked for cars. Then we get Dragon Quest Monsters, which looks like the actual evolution of Pokemon. Become a monster wrangler on the 1st of December.
Yeah, I might look into this a bit more closer to the time and look at actual trailers, because again, it's one of those where these directs are good at being like, this is the concept of some of the stuff that's coming out. If it tickles your balls, look at the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, these were pretty much trailers for a lot of these. Like this, the Dragon Quest Monsters one was as trailerish as it could be.
Okay, you know what I mean though. Look at the gameplay trailer when it comes out, the proper one that takes 5 minutes.
Pikmin 4 is out on 21st of July. And to celebrate, they released the first two games on the eShop as HD remasters. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection.
Don't you just love that? We're celebrating. Here, buy some stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Metal Gear?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection is Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, and the NES games.
Okay.
I think most people would probably say Metal Gear Solid 1 and 3 are generally regarded as the best ones.
Maybe so, but I don't want to buy them again.
Yeah, sure. And you mentioned it in passing, but Vampire Survivors is getting a Switch version, along with couch co-op.
I am genuinely surprised. I shouldn't be that surprised, because by all accounts, it's not the easiest thing to port to the Switch, but it's still a bit surprising it's taken so long. But then again, they got it on the mobile first, which is, I suppose, is the better market.
Oh, definitely. I bought the DLCs on mobile rather than buying them on PC when they were released at the same time. The only reason I bought the PC version was because there were no plans to release the DLC on mobile until they did.
Yeah.
By the time the second DLC came around, they released them at the same time, so I was able to buy it once rather than twice. The couch co-op is apparently coming to all versions, except possibly the mobile phone, as you might expect. But like you say, the thing that is weird to me is that the Switch didn't get their port at the same time that mobile did, because the Switch is essentially a not very good tablet from 2017. It wasn't good then in terms of tablet hardware, and that's basically the same infrastructure as a mobile phone chipset, so it shouldn't be that difficult to port from mobile to that.
I mean, I'm going to have to assume that it's more difficult than we know about, if only because I don't know the specifics. I really don't. I'm not going to pretend to, Also, it might not even be a case of the actual port being difficult so much as Nintendo being little bitches about how to split the money. And yeah, I don't mind taking shots at Nintendo. It is definitely punching up.
Headbangers Rhythm Royale.
This looks fun.
Yeah, it's an online pigeon rhythm action minigame fest. It's out on Halloween.
Weird release choice, but whatever. I'm looking forward to it. It does just look like a bit of fun.
Penny's Big Breakaway is the 3D exploration action game. It's made by the Sonic Mania team. It's coming out early 2024. I think this looks neat. I will be keeping my finger on the pulse. Then again, I also thought Yooka-Laylee looked neat and bought that. So my opinions are flawed. Star Ocean 2 is getting a remake. It's getting a hybrid thing of a 3D world. The original sprites are being upscaled, but still very obviously sprites. And the story scenes are getting like really high quality illustrations for a visual novel style. So hopefully that's fun. And then to shit on Headbangers, we get WarioWare on the 3rd of November.
Yeah, I skipped the last WarioWare game, so I'll be definitely looking at this one. WarioWare's always been fun. I did like the DS one quite a lot.
Another thank you buy more is Zelda and Ganondorf amiibos. They're here to thank us for enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. And the last one is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which includes Peach and Daisy as playable characters, Elephant Mario, and Wonder Flowers that make things go fucky, like pipes becoming sentient.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's been too long since we've had a 2D Mario.
It looks like the new Super Mario Brothers for Wii U.
But yeah, someone actually released an interesting infographic, and that is 2D Mario games that came out during presidencies. One came out during George Bush, about 5 came out during Obama, none came out during Trump, and one's now come out during Biden. So it's been at least 5 years.
Yeah, there were quite a few during Bush, I believe.
There was one.
Was it only one?
Yeah, it was the new Super Mario Bros. For the DS, so it would have been near the tail end of his presidency as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, it doesn't really matter. It was just a funny infographic.
Yeah, I could have sworn there was more than that, but yeah, sure. Fair enough.
Especially seeing as the person posting it was just like, in case you need to judge how bad presidencies are, don't look at the political stuff, just look at how many Mario games came out. The Everest climbing season has finished.
Has it?
Yeah. Boy, it's fucking depressing. You've got these videos that the Sherpas are sharing of all of these abandoned camps and the amount of litter and trash that just now lives on Everest because fuck if they're going to clean it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, even corpses. They don't pick up corpses. They become waypoints.
Well, they can't pick up corpses. Usually corpses end up in positions that are too dangerous to retrieve, and that's why they stay there.
Yeah, it's how they became corpses half the time.
The most infamous one, of course, being Green Boots, which is a well-known waymark for Everest. For those of you who don't know, the Everest climbing season lasts for about 2 weeks. That's when it's safe to approach the summit.
Sure.
And there's a combination of people being disrespectful and lazy, and the fact that the Nepalese government gives out too many passes.
Yeah, they do.
So it's a combination of lazy fuckers leaving their shit all over the place, and the fact that there's just so many of them doing it now. The Sherpas have been vocal for the last 3 or 4 years that they are allowing too many people to climb Everest. And, it's one of those annoying things as well where you get a lot of influencers who just do it because you can just do that now. If you have enough money, you can just pay the Sherpas to do most of the work for you. You still got to be relatively fit and be able to do the climb, but they know safe routes that you can just go up. There's that infamous picture of the queue to get to the top of the fucking mountain.
Yeah. Or just, the Simpsons episode of Homer having to climb their version of Everest, and the Sherpas do it all for him. Like, they bundle him up into a sleeping bag and then climb on his behalf while he sleeps.
Yeah, and when he wakes up and the Sherpas are asleep, he goes, "Get up, you lazy Sherpas."
Yep. And then he wants to do it all on his own, and they say, "Well, shouldn't you start from the bottom?" He's like, "Nope."
Also, as soon as he says that the two Sherpas are fired, they jump with joy and fuck off, and I don't blame them.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, there's been a couple of stories as well related to Everest where there was one chap who was filmed being saved from dying on Everest by a Sherpa, who then went on TV in his native country. I want to say it was Malaysia, but I'm not sure, saying he didn't get saved, he did it all on his own and he's fine. When there's video footage on the internet of his life being saved, and I don't know why you'd lie about this.
It's such a weird thing, but oh well. I'd like to think I'm not that much of a crazy person, but I'm not that much of a crazy person.
I mean, I know my limits. There's no way in 100 years I'd be able to climb Mount Everest. I wouldn't be able to climb fucking Ben Nevis.
No.
And that has a path.
Yeah, I can barely climb a cathedral and they have stairs.
But the disrespect, man. Someone saved your life and you can't even spare a thank you? Jesus, man, the entitlement. There's another story of another climber who got saved and refused to pay the saving fee, which is apparently 1,000 of the local Nepalese currency, which is nothing. I would give you my life savings if you saved my life. Take it.
Yep, absolutely.
Basically, I think not just the Nepalese government, but people who think, well, I've got the money and the funds, I've got the time, I can probably do it, should all probably have a sit down and look at themselves and go, is this worth it? This is the tallest mountain in the world. It's hazardous. I would like to get Brian Blessed's fucking thoughts on the whole ordeal, who notoriously says that if you do Everest with oxygen tanks, you're a pussy.
Yeah. Isn't he the...
oldest man to do it?
Yeah, there's like a combination of oldest man to do it and furthest reached without oxygen, and the reason that he stopped was that he had to go and... he had a choice. Save someone's life or continue to the top, and he chose saving someone's life. Mad respect.
I do love him.
And the part where he went out on a line, shat into the wind, and ended up in his hood. they were camped out at night, and yeah, it's just like he went out on a line and made sure he was away from the tent, just shat into the universe, and it was so windy it just blew right back. And it was about 20 minutes later when he realized that there was like a lingering garbagey scent when they were back in the tent, as this poo had not actually frozen and was still at a warm temperature and diffusing through the tent.
Never change, Brian Blessed, you crazy, crazy bastard. I do believe that he has intentions of climbing Everest again before he dies, but I've got to be honest with you, I don't know if that's a realistic expectation.
Sure. Well, good luck to him. Absolutely good luck to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be cheering for him if he does it, because, you know, it's an impressive feat no matter what, even if you are guided by Sherpas, you know? But, you know, he is a mountain climbing enthusiast. Helluva Boss episode 8 dropped, and it's very fresh in our minds, so we thought, let's just talk about that today.
Yeah. So, has Queen Bee Elzebub jumped to the top of the waifu charts in Helluva Boss for you?
Oh, God, no.
Ah, weird. She has for me.
That's because you're a furry. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore Queen Bee. I really did like her character. It's nice to see someone in charge of one of the rings not be a colossal dickhead.
Yes, it totally is. It's also really nice to see her not be a pushover as well, because yeah, she's Queen Bee, she's in charge. But as soon as you actually start insulting her, that's when she busts out the full-on demon power, and is also just as easy to back down when things are not going so bad.
Yeah. I didn't actually rewatch episode 7, but episode 7's Last Ring is still pretty fresh in my mind, and it would have been a very interesting comparison if these episodes came out literally back to back, because you got the way Ozzy treats his subjects, which is still not necessarily evil, but if you don't conform to the way he wants things done, he very much lashes out all day. I'm not really 100% sure what Ozymandias is in this continuality. Whereas Queen Bee is just like, I want everyone to have a good time, and then someone's not having a good time. The first thing she does is she tells the person closest to them, they're not having a good time. Could you check on them?
Yeah. Just, she's, okay, the song is all about, I've got what you want, but not what you need. But she's actually putting a lot of effort into making sure that someone gives people what they need, especially in an emotional way.
I don't know about that last one, but yeah, I get you. Like, she happens to be giving a fuck about Blitz because Blitz is clearly going on a destructive spiral, whereas everyone else is just indulging because they like to indulge.
Yeah, totally.
Which is the type of gluttony that she seems to be all for. I will say this as well, it's nice to see Tex again, because I forgot how much of a chill dude Tex was.
Yeah, good old Vortex.
He's just a nice guy. And I mean that in a literal sense, not the milady sense.
Yeah. It's kind of cute how they're still probably down for a threesome if Luna was up for it.
Sorry, say that again?
I think the implication was that they were down for a threesome if Luna was up for it.
Oh, I don't like that idea, because I thought Tex was just looking out for Luna and trying to help her get friends. If Tex was looking for a threesome, then that makes it creepier.
I don't think he was looking. I just think he's, receptive, and Queen Bee is very receptive.
Yeah, but Queen Bee doesn't give a fuck. It's one of those. I will say, I was very confused by the fan base's reaction to Queen Bee's design.
I've not touched this.
Yeah, neither have I really, but because of the way I scroll Reddit, things just pop up. There was a fair amount of Reddit threads and Twitter things of... basically, people don't like the design because it's not very insecty, and it's like, I kind of dig that, to be honest, because it's very easy to default to a fly for Beelzebub.
Yeah, so she's like halfway between like one of the werewolves and Angel Dust from Hazbin Hotel.
I did think she looked very Angel Dusty when she first appeared. It very quickly changed because of the fox face, but yeah.
Yeah. Man, such a good design. And like so well animated as well, like at every moment.
Yeah, this entire episode looked very stunning visually. It was very colourful as well. We don't tend to get episodes of Helluva Boss that are this colourful.
No, you get a colour, but you don't get many colours at once.
Yeah. And God, the song.
Oh, yeah.
I do like the idea of a bunch of dogs just going apeshit for cotton candy. That's such a dog thing, isn't it?
Oh, dogs go apeshit for anything that they get fed.
Yeah, I'm aware. The last thing I ate this, it gave me the drizzling shits, but I'm being given it again, so... but, I thought it was a good episode. Fucking full credit to Blitz once again for... This is literally right off the heel of his rather emotional night with Stolas, and he gets a phone call from Luna, of Luna being uncomfortable and sad, and she wants to go home, and Blitz is there in 15 seconds.
It's it's a double-ended thing as well, isn't it? Because you got Blitz doing that immediately, and then Luna turning on parent mode when Blitz needs it.
Yeah. Also, Luna called Blitz dad several times in this episode.
Yeah.
And that tugs at the heart. Getting very much to the crux of the issue of that Blitz has, which I think most of the fan base already sort of established, in that he does not want to die alone, and the way he's going, it certainly feels as if that might be the case. And the episode fades to black as he's like, please be there for me, Looney. And Luna's like, yeah. And then when Luna fucks off, he starts mumbling about Millie and Moxie and Stolas. So, you know. It's a very sad visual and a very downer ending to a rather... It looked upbeat and colourful and ended very quiet and somber and dark. No doubt done on purpose.
It does mean that, like, canonically, nothing was resolved between him and Stolas in between seasons. Like, we knew that it wasn't going to be resolved, but there might have been something going on, and we saw that in the texts in Stolas' phone when he was in hospital.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I still secretly hope that the end game is Blitz and Stolas both get over their issues, but yeah, it's going to be a long road. And yeah, this episode also gave a bit more context for why Luna was so understanding with Veer.
Yeah. This was meant to be the first real Luna episode, and I wish we'd have got it when we were meant to, and not now. But oh well. So it like retroactively, like you say, yeah, it makes the other Luna episode have a bit more context.
But yeah, I'm a sucker for found family, and I hope Veer and Luna have more chances to interact.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated to the episode we watched, but whatever. Basically, Helluva Boss continues to be fun. I say fun. Certainly interesting. But yeah, Spinder's a pass. It's a teddy bear. Like, yeah, you can fuck a teddy bear, but you shouldn't.
I mean, you could do that in real life.
That's my point. I mean in real life. I'm not talking about theoretically. I mean, you could buy a teddy bear and fuck it. You just shouldn't.
Yeah, you can do that today. I'm going to go with Smash on Spinder.
I mean, fuck. I've seen...
Trap Inch.
They're kind of memes, but I've seen plenty of people who have bought plushes of the Evolution line and just stuck fleshlights in them.
Oh, yeah.
Which is funny. It's incredibly funny. I think it's a hilarious visual. However, the implication is borderline horrifying.
Yeah, people do it with My Little Pony plushies as well.
Oh, shut up. Oh, I remember. Oh, okay, you just reminded me of a meme long since dead of someone. It was a fake Bad Dragon advert of introducing My Little Pony fleshlights, and it was just fleshlights but coloured in the 6 colours. And I'm like, oh no! Like, again, it's very funny, but the implication. When you think about it for more than 2 seconds, it's like, oh no!
They all have their own serial numbers filed off booty mark.
They have their booty mark and they're scented. Applejack smells like apples, Rainbow Dash smells like rainbows. What does Rainbow smell like? I don't know.
Well, if you go by the show, it's spicy.
I'm sorry?
One of the early episodes, Pinkie Pie tastes the rainbow, and the rainbow is spicy.
Oh, funny enough, I don't trust Pinkie Pie's taste buds. They have been blunted by years of sugar abuse.
Yeah, but by the same token, like, her face turns red, so there is obviously something going on there.
I think she's allergic.
Yep.
Don't forget, guys, canonically, Weird Al Yankovic has married and does fuck Pinkie Pie.
Or at least the pony version.
Weird
Al's pony sona.
I firmly believe that there is some sort of unwritten rule that isn't even a pony version of Weird Al Yankovic. I think it's just Weird Al Yankovic has the ability to jump into cartoons, and he chooses to go to My Little Pony and fuck Pinkie Pie, just to cuck the cloppers.
Yeah, Weird Al Yankovic pony sona, and although Deadpool would have a thing to say about that, because Deadpool really loves Pinkie Pie as well.
That's not canon. I'm going to reveal something to the world about me on a personal level, and I don't know if they're ready to hear it.
Go ahead.
What an underwhelming reaction to such a bold statement.
Well, if it's anything like me, the actual answer is I don't do fuck all.
Well, the reality is I've had a fascination since I was a child. And that fascination, this isn't a fucking not a Lionel Hutz, Troy McClure thing, I don't want to fuck fish. No, I've had a fascination since I was a child, and that fascination is Bigfoot.
Okay.
Now, I want to stress, I do not think Bigfoot is real, but I find the documentaries about him fascinating.
I feel you.
Now, here's the thing. I've watched so many documentaries about Bigfoot this week because I felt like it, and no one can stop me. I'm a 31-year-old man. And And
I do what I want.
I wouldn't quite put it as bratty as that, but yeah. And it's one of those where it's great because you start on the pretty standard ones where they take a fairly scientific approach of, well, this is that. That's probably just a boar rummaging for fucking food. That's a footprint, but is it a footprint or is it just this and that? Here's some hair. Oh, it's a bear, And then you slowly get crazier and crazier, and it's just like, now Bigfoot's supernatural, man.
What if Bigfoot is like some lycanthrope and everyone gets a turn at being Bigfoot?
Rick,
oh.
I shit you not, it very quickly went from Bigfoot is supernatural to here's some testimonies of people encountering wolfmen.
Okay.
That's how quick the jump is. I'm not joking. It very quickly devolves into crazy. I'm like, when I was younger, I was a firm believer in Bigfoot. Not because of any evidence, but because I wanted to believe.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea. Like, there's just a big great ape that we've not discovered. Because, like, there's only 4,
Mm-hmm.
5 if you count humans, but that's poking a bear with a stick. But yeah, it's one of those.
It's also a bit masturbatory calling yourself a great ape.
I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, humans are just sophisticated apes.
Oh yes.
Right.
We got the thumb and we got the language and we got the ability to pass down knowledge beyond our own learning and existence.
But yeah, so I quickly got bored with Bigfoot documentaries because they went into bullshit spooky territory. So I then moved on to watching documentaries about caves and mountains.
Okay.
Mountains and caves are scary, Rick. You don't need to make up supernatural shit when we have that on our planet that you can see.
Yep, or even worse, that you can't see and you still fall into.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's how the world's greatest Sherpa died, as he just fell into a glacier. Not glacier, crevice. Which is fucking mind-blowing. Anyway, yeah, I've watched a lot of documentaries. Some of them bullshit, which are funny to laugh at, and some of them quite serious. I even watched a documentary, Rick, and I shit you not, the British Bigfoot.
The British Bigfoot, okay. So is this something like the Beast of Bodmin, but like as an ape or something?
Well, some people claim that it is a wild man. The documentary maker went and said, I have interviewed many experts on the subject. And I went, have you? Cuts to the people he's interviewing. These are all people who have claimed to have seen the creature. These are not experts. These are crazy people.
Yes.
When he said experts, I thought he meant scientists.
No. There's no such thing as a scientist when it comes to crazy people shit.
But, like, I shit you not, one of the people he interviewed said this as his argument. Well, the Americans have a Bigfoot, why can't Britain? And I was absolutely flabbergasted. I was like, I want to have a fucking pint with you. I want to hear the world through your view, because that is it's stupid, but it's kind of wholesome.
Yeah, I mean that almost word for word is the network pitch for putting Carl Pilkington on the air.
Oh, fuck me, you're not even wrong. But yeah, if you see a crazy person, assuming they're not the harmful type of crazy person, you should talk to them, because it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Rick, Haluva Boss.
Yes.
We watched, I watched Series 2, Episode 5, as I'm sure you did as well.
I did. Pretty much as soon as you said that it was out, I watched it, and then we could compare notes.
It was a real mixed bag for me. I've been high on Haluva Boss pretty much since you introduced me to it, but I don't like cringe humour. I don't. It makes me cringe more than laugh, and this episode was mostly cringe humour, and they don't shy away from that fact.
Oh yeah, they even said, oh yeah, cringe incoming, and then did it.
Yeah.
It did feel like a mid-season episode, which is fine. We need mid-season episodes. And I think it's the first time this entire season that they've actually gone and done their job.
Well, I do like the fact that once the two plot beats, plot A and plot B, crossed over, and Moxie was like, oh, we're on that job you sent me on, sir, and Blitz is just like, Jesus Christ, Moxie, it's been like a fucking week.
Yep.
Which was very funny. Like, don't get me wrong, I adored the B plot, couldn't stand the A plot, but that's mostly because of the cringe. I don't like cringe, it makes me feel bad inside. And you could tell it was going to be cringe the moment Moxie puts on that bitch voice.
Yep.
And I was like, oh no, this is going to go so fucking poorly. Oh.
Although Millie was killing it as Millard.
Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, it's one of those where, like, I was happy for Millie because she was clearly having fun. Felt bad for Moxie, and then a lot of me died inside because cringe. I can't deal with it. Don't know how many times I have to say it. I just can't. It's why I never watched The Inbetweeners.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
It's just like, I'm sure it was a funny show, but it relies on cringe humour, and cringe, I can't.
Yep, so many of my friend group really adored it, and I politely sat through it, grinding my teeth most of the way. Yeah, I've not watched a lot of it.
I will admit the term bus stop wankers is funny.
Yeah, bus wankers, yeah.
There's a few things. Did you catch the kid that kept getting fucking beat at the volleyball?
Okay, go ahead.
Did you catch that he did the Yamcha death pose?
No.
Yeah, that really fucking tickled me. At least the first time. They very quickly ended up in the centre of the earth.
Yep.
But yeah, during Millie's song, she even mentioned that she got sent dick pics, and that made me not cringe, but feel creepy, because that's a summer camp for kids, and I don't doubt there are creepy counsellors that exist.
Oh, definitely, yes.
And most importantly, we met Barbie.
We did.
Boy, did it take about 5 minutes for fan artists to go, yep, drawing that ass.
Yep. Well, generally, a lot of fan artists will just have a body ready to go, and then they just fill in the blanks when a new, interesting, and relevant character comes to light.
Well, we've seen Barbie in her imp form before. It's just as a picture rather than as a character.
Sure.
Isn't it weird that she has a human disguise but Blitz don't?
Yeah. Then again, she comes to the surface to do drugs a lot, so...
Not do drugs, deal drugs.
Yeah, to deal drugs. And that's the bit that Blitz is okay with.
Oh yeah, because they're demons.
Yeah.
I think my favourite gag of the episode was her revealing the whole reason why she picked that dude was because boys are easy to manipulate, and the human dude's like, hey, and all she does is show her arse just a little bit. And he's just like, I love you.
Yep. Observe.
But yeah, have you got any thoughts?
Other than what we said, I don't think so. Like I said, it was a mid-season episode. Nice to see them doing their job. Conspicuously, no Luna, but again, she showed up at the end, asleep at the desk. I believe that the season 1 finale was recorded quite a long time ago, wasn't it? So that fits in with Erika Lindbeck still being like on hiatus from active voice acting.
Well, weirdly enough, it's actually kind of appropriate you bring that up, because first of all, it's still in character for Luna to just fucking sleep on a desk and not give a fuck.
Oh yeah, it is.
Looking at this episode, she wouldn't have added anything.
No.
Blitz was doing his own thing, dealing with his sister, and Millie and Moxie went to do an assassination, which, apart from rare occasions, Luna isn't really involved in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Vizipop, Vivian, I forget her surname, I apologise.
Medrano.
She did tweet saying that she's sick of people speculating on Erika, because a lot of these season 2 episodes were recorded ages ago.
Sure.
So before the issues even occurred. Like, that's the reason why Luna's not been in episodes, is because Luna isn't needed in episodes.
Sure.
That's just what I read on a tweet from the woman herself, so I don't know what more I could add to that. Rick, I finished Fire Emblem Engage.
Did you? Okay, cool.
The story for that game is subpar until you reach at chapter 21, and then it actually had my interest. I still think it's weaker than both Awakening and Three Houses story-wise, but it's fine.
I think I've recruited everyone, and I think I see where the story is going.
Who's the final character you recruited?
Vale and Mauvier.
Yeah, there's no one else.
Yeah, so I've recruited everyone. I have the benefit of having the DLC, so I get the little conversations between them and the Mirrorverse 4 hounds, or 3 hounds even, 3 winds.
In case it wasn't obvious you were going to unlock Mauvier, if you played the DLC beforehand, he is the one DLC character that doesn't come to the future with you.
Yeah, and he's not in any way changed, he's just the same Mauvier. They all have a better relationship with their original Mauvier, so when they come to the regular timeline, they're all basically using him as a replacement goldfish, and...
You can't use the term replacement goldfish, because it's not a goldfish, except for maybe to Big Booby Lady, because she lives forever, but...
She does.
I think the way they did the S-Link in this game was quite original and quite fun. Once you have all the emblem rings again, spoiler alert, you have all of them at one point, an optional map opens up alongside the final paralogue for unlocking rank 20 with the final ring, and that one is you do a map and you find a special ring that was left by Mama Dragon, and it's like, make sure you make a pact with someone, and it goes into an excruciating detail of saying in brackets, note, the pact that does not necessarily have to be a romantic one.
Yes, yeah, just in case you want to pick Anna.
Yeah, although I've already told you that in the Japanese version of the game, that is like, I will wait for you to turn 18 and then you are mine, and it's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, it's a promise ring.
Yeah. That being said, though, I gave my ring to Sapphire, because Sapphire is by far my waifu in that game.
Cool.
The artwork is very cute when you give your chosen character the ring, and you get additional epilogue. The epilogues for the characters are a bit shit this time round, because a lot of them are, this character died.
Yeah, so Apparently, for that particular one, if you S-link that particular character, they become an immortal dragon regent, and that's the only way to stop them from dying.
Oh, you tell me the character.
Alfred.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So Alfred's epilogue is he became king, but records show he was king for about 5 years because he died tragically young. And it was like, there was no hints in that character that he had something that meant he was going to die young.
Yeah, I was looking out for this, and, like, I didn't see any hints that he was in any way, like, terminally ill or anything.
If anything, it's the opposite, because he's always fucking working out.
Yeah, he's always working out, he's always sunny, he's always just, like, bringing joy into people's lives, and, you know, like, okay, if they told you at some point, yeah, this is because I'm dying early, then okay, but, I don't think they do. He just dies.
I think the only hint we get is the fact that he doesn't sleep a lot, but even then, that's a vague hint at best.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Literally, while I was getting the epilogues, I was like, I literally said, what the fuck? Why? Did I fuck up?
Yeah. Like, it's not like Lysithea, where she talks about it, like, quite a lot, and there are multiple ways to pair her off with someone that makes her not die.
Yeah, that's one of the difference between this and Three Houses, is the characters don't pair themselves up. The only pairing you get is the main character and whoever you pick.
Yeah.
So,
that's another reason Three Houses was better.
Here's what I'll say, right, is Three Houses' story was better by far. I think the maps in Engage have been much more fun than Three Houses. How many times in Three Houses did we do a fight where it's just like, beat the enemy? Is there a gimmick? No.
Yeah, and like the biggest gimmick you had in Three Houses was, oh yeah, you have to get through this maze. Is it a maze? No, it's just a fucking queue.
Yeah.
You have to go around the snake queue and you waste loads of turns just spending movement.
And you can also bullshit that with Warp.
Yes.
If you try and bullshit any of the gimmicks like that with Warp in Engage, you get severely punished.
Oh yeah, you get surrounded and mollywomped a lot of the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of maps where it's like constant reinforcements, so much so that after my brief hiatus, I always had 3 units that were just my rear guard.
Yes.
Because I learnt.
Like late game, it seems to be the case that you basically just want an Alpha Strike team of, okay, these guys have infinity movement and just go and win.
I'm a bit more Death Starry.
Sure.
By the end of the game, you have a 14 unit strong team, and yeah, I reserve 3 of those for rear guard. The rest just fucking decimate stuff.
Yeah.
That being said, once I beat the game, I was like, that's fun, I want to play more, so I bought the DLC and started a new save file immediately, and the gimmick for the bracelets are fun. I've beaten the Fell Xenologue.
Sure.
I think the Xenologue was both fun and frustrating.
Oh yes, the maps were incredibly frustrating. I had to put it down onto easy mode because even the first map kicked my ass with the fucking max health reducing poison.
One of the big problems is the same problem we had with the Three Houses DLC, and that is you don't get a lot of options. Well, in that you do get a lot of options in that you can pick your team from whoever you've got currently recruited, but they're level locked, they're gear locked, you don't get to decide anything. It's like, you've picked this character, cool, this is their role.
Yeah, they're level locked, gear locked, and class locked. Like, they're put into their default thing. So Anna is always shit, because, like, her big thing is you ignore what she's meant to be good at and you make her a mage, because that's what she's actually good at.
Yeah, I think they started her as a warrior because that's what the Anna in Heroes is.
Yeah, just give her an axe because that's what she has.
Yeah, despite the fact that my first introduction to Anna was Awakening, where she was a trickster and therefore a god.
Yes.
But yeah, once you've finished Engage, Rick, we can do a proper retrospective, because there's only so much I can talk about.
Yeah. Let's save it for the actual retro. One thing that did come out on Steam, and is out now for you to enjoy, is HoloCure.
Yes, and enjoyed it I have. It came out yesterday on the Steam.
Yeah, this has been out obviously as a GitHub download for a long time, but now that it's on Steam, it's got Steam achievements.
Yeah, hey, good news, Rick. I know you can't experience this because obviously had to use a different device, but if you played HoloCure, the old version, when you boot up Steam, you get about 12 achievements because it carries over.
Yeah, it looks for your old save file. Now, the unfortunate thing is my previous save file got lost in computer troubles, which is a bit of a pain in the arse because I had everything unlocked in the shop up to a certain point. The update before this one, I didn't play very much at all because of this, so I essentially got 2 updates worth of characters and stages to, get to grips with, enjoy fresh, and all that. You've got most of the game to enjoy fresh.
Yeah, I played like 3 or 4 runs back when it was new, and then I stopped because I was like, this is fun, I'll come back to this later. And then one day you said, oh, it's going to come on Steam at some point. I went, cool, that's when I'll come back to it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I played the shit out of it yesterday.
You said you've not really got a super favourite character yet, have you?
Not really, but bear in mind I've only got like 8 characters and there's like 30 now.
Yeah.
I played yesterday as Callie and Subaru. Callie is... I like how wide her arc is. Subaru throws baseballs.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you in a private message when we were just shooting the shit that Subaru's base attack when you first start feels really slow and awful, and I hated it, but I got to about level 10, as in character level, and then it was like, okay, yeah, this is serviceable. I can deal with this.
Yeah, like part of it is when you get enough passives, the character just transforms from, okay, this little projectile is a bit shit, to, okay, this little projectile is not all the character is. Like the rest of the things that she gets stacks of just transform how she plays.
Well, yeah, that's true universally, but I'm specifically talking about Subaru's baseball throw. Once it reaches like level 3 or 4, it gets a buff that makes it attack faster, and that on its own makes it feel more useful.
I think of the new characters, one of my favourites is Ollie. She plays really fun, and I think she's one of the only ones. I think she's got one and Kiara's got one of essentially a revival on death, which is something that Holocure tends not to do. Vampire Survivors does, obviously. You can just buy revives in the shop and then get more of them with Arcanas and all that. But Holocure only really has it with the Chicken Feather, Kiara, and Ollie so far as I'm aware.
Which makes sense. Kiara's a phoenix. She can never die, as we know when she had her resurrection when her account got banned. And Ollie is a zombie. Speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But there's 2 things I like about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are a bunch of party dudes who are basically 2 steps away from stoners, but they're also ninjas, so fuck it.
Yep.
And 2, Casey Jones, because he is unnecessarily brutal for that franchise.
Oh, yes. Casey Jones fits with the comic, not with the cartoon.
For those of you who don't know, Casey Jones is is essentially a vigilante who ends up toning down his vigilanteism when he becomes buddies with the Turtles, but still regularly beats the shit out of dudes with a hockey stick.
Yeah, he's basically if Jason Voorhees had a hockey stick instead of, a big old cleaver or whatever.
I don't think that's a good analogy, but hey, you roll with it if you want.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, yeah, I suppose having a hockey mask is reasonable if you got a hockey stick.
Yeah. Like, don't forget, Jason has the hockey mask because he just happened to find it in part 3.
Yeah.
And then when they showed him with the hockey mask, it was like, oh, that's a cool design, so they just stuck with it. In 2, he just has a pillowcase.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Imagine being scared by that.
He's still a big fucking dude who's basically a walking zombie, right?
Sure, yeah. Because he's actually dead in the first movie, isn't he, pretty much?
It's weird. Okay, the timeline's weird. Yeah.
Oh boy.
He is technically dead the entire time, but he gets killed again multiple times. The rules are inconsistent, Rick, and boy, would this... If we had like 2.5 months to spare, we should just binge the Friday the 13th movies for this podcast. I believe it's part 5 or part 6 where Jason isn't even Jason. It's another dude called, like, I forget his name, Kevin or something, and he's just a real dude. It's not Kevin, I'm just pulled the name out my arse, I can't remember his name, where he just goes around killing people in Manhattan, and they're like, why the fuck is Jason in Manhattan? He's meant to be trapped in Crystal Lake because his spirit and voodoo and shit, and it's like, because it's not actually Jason.
Yep, it's just Kevin Vandertramp or whatever.
I mock, but his name's not 1,000 miles away from that. I finally watched the Barbie movie, Rick.
Yes! Like I said, I did my best not to reveal anything while I was talking about it last week. It was not what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting it to be this subversive masterpiece, as it were. But yeah, it was fun, and it made you think.
I can see why that conservative woman who walked out after the first 10 minutes walked out within the first 10 minutes because of the, and I'm using air quotes here, woke propaganda they're spreading.
Oh, yeah, just because all of the peoples in Barbie Land are Barbie, and therefore are a woman doing something important.
Yeah.
And not just sitting in the kitchen baking a pie and getting goosed.
I wasn't expecting Ken to be the antagonist.
No. I thought it was actually a pretty good organic way to create an antagonist from the cast.
Here's the funny well, I say funny in a tragic sort of sense, in that Ken's stupid. Like that.
Oh yes,
that's part of the crux of the character, and this incel patriarchy bullshit that easily got embedded in his mind does easily get embedded in the mind of stupid people.
Yes, exactly. That's part of the tragedy of the allegory.
That being said, I do like how they lampshaded it. Lampshaded? I forget the term.
Yeah, lampshaded it.
When at the end, Ken just confessed to Barbie. I gotta be honest, when I learnt it didn't have much to do with horses, I kind of lost interest. Because I'm like, that's so wholesome. The fight dance number was perfect. I flipped my shit as well as the person who I was with for the John Cena cameo.
Yes, it's just Mermaid Ken.
It was just so unexpected. We were both like, what the fuck? Oh, so funny. That guy's a legend. I also flipped my shit for the Rob Brydon cameo, because I'm like, what the fuck is Rob Brydon doing in a Hollywood A-list movie?
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen the film, mild spoiler, he plays, was it Sugar Daddy Ken?
Yeah, I think it's Sugar Daddy Ken, the one with the dog.
Yeah, the big joke being that, by the way, Will Kendall, where he is Sugar's daddy and the dog is Sugar.
Yes, all of the gag Barbies and Kens are actually real.
Yeah, including the one that had breasts that you could inflate to simulate.
Oh yeah, Grow Up Skipper.
Yeah.
There's only 2 Skippers in that movie, and one of them is the one with the inflatable boobs.
We had Ken's friend Alan, played by Michael Cera. When I saw Michael Cera's name during the opening quote unquote crawl, I was like, he's going to play a Michael Cera character. Oh, yep, there he is.
And apparently there were more Allens, and they just escaped into the world before.
Yeah, and nobody noticed because they were so bland and boring, which is so horrible.
I think they said they became NSYNC or something.
Yeah, oh god. And then there's the fact you find out that the Alan that's left is actually a secret badass because he beats up like 10 Kens.
Yeah, because he's had enough.
Yeah.
But, like when they were first marketing Alan, one of the marketing tags was, all of Ken's clothes fit him.
I will say I was a bit disappointed by the closing gag, but apart from that, it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Should we spoil the closing gag or should we move on with our lives?
We'll move on with our lives. So let's let people have the closing gag to themselves.
Yeah, fair enough. Yes, Rick, what about you? Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is going right the way back to Gen 1. This is my first ever grass type that I use in a team. It's Victory Bell.
I didn't know this was on the list.
Yeah, this is in the Scarlet Violet PU tier. It's just in there. It's right the way down because it starts with a V. But yeah, I'm going with Victory Bell. It was technically better than Vileplume, which when I played Gen 1, I preferred Vileplume to Victory Bell, but I played the game that got Bellsprout, not the one that got Oddish, so I didn't get it. And I also picked Squirtle because I was being a hipster and wanted to beat everyone that had all the Charmanders.
Rick, the list you sent me does not have Victory Bell on it.
Oh no.
Smogon SV formats PU.
Oh no.
On the list you sent me, you get down to that level and it goes Spiredot, Spiritomb, Tinkertuff, Rishcash, Ryder, Zangoose. And he doesn't appear on the other list either, the other Pokemon with strategies. I'm not disputing you putting it on there, but it appears you've picked from a different pool than I had.
Oh no. Whoops. It seems that I picked from the wrong list.
Rick, what list did you use?
Apparently after making sure that we had the same list, I went to the wrong one.
You fucking bastard! You've ruined the episode!
Oh.
Oh, Rick, what list did you use?
Let's just check. Did I use the Alolan list?
You might have done. You'll have to scroll up. Sorry, guys and girls. We're doing some on-the-fly fucking homework because Rick fucked up.
I did. I used the Alolan list. It's right there.
You fucking arsehole! I deleted my original list that I used right on that fucking list because you said we're going to use this one instead.
Ooh, I'm so sorry. Lilo and Stitch.
That one was actually really good.
Yeah, so the second Lilo and Stitch movie was obviously a pilot for the series, and by the time we got it, the fans were clamoring out for more Lilo and Stitch.
What was it? Experiment 625 was lazy and only wanted to make sandwiches.
Yeah, has all powers of 626, but is lazy coward.
Yeah. And we actually get to see him in the cartoon at one point use his powers because his ability to make sandwich was robbed from him and he was annoyed.
Yep.
I can't remember if it was a third movie or if it felt like a movie because it was like a 3-part string, but there was like another quote-unquote Lilo and Stitch movie where there was another 626, but this one was a girl.
Oh, 624. That was like one of the normal episodes, and she just became like a semi-regular. Both 625 and Stitch both really loved her.
I don't remember her being a regular character on the show. I remember it being a finale arc, but okay.
Okay. She cropped up more than once, which is more than you can say for a lot of the experiments, where you have an episode with that experiment, you find the place where it belongs, and that's it. Her power was she could control any of the experiments that came before her, but not 625 and Stitch.
But she could.
She basically could, yeah. she could without using her power, just because of the fact that she was a female version of them, and they thought she was hot. Yeah, mine's probably Game of Thrones. Like, it's still there. It's still out there in the wild. You can just start watching it. But if I started watching the the live-action version, I would probably want to watch all of it, and by all accounts, it fell off real hard after they ran out of material.
Fell off real hard before they ran out of material. Is the actual fucking tragedy of the whole thing, because people like to forget that both... I like Game of Thrones, guys, sorry. People like to forget that D&D, Dumb and Dumber, actually straight up didn't want to adapt the whole thing. They just wanted to adapt it up until the Red Wedding, but that's season 3.
Sure.
And then they just kept going. And here's the thing, right, is I will stick up for them a little bit, because those first 3 seasons are actually pretty good adaptations. Yes, they changed a few things, but they kind of had to. But the more they went on, the more they changed more things, because they knew better than everybody. And, the final nail in the coffin is, you gotta bear in mind, HBO knew that Game of Thrones was popular. They were like, we will give you as many seasons and as much money as you need, because this just keeps raking it in. And they went, no, we're gonna finish it at season 8, because we want to go do Star Wars.
Yep. And that's the only reason they finished, it seems.
That seems to be the main reason why they rushed it, at the very least. Now, don't get me wrong, I think it doesn't matter how much attention and care they took with the final season or seasons. I think it was always going to be doomed the moment George R.R. Martin got outpaced.
Mm-hmm.
I think D&D are actually very decent and very competent at doing adaptations, because those first 3 seasons are actually pretty good. However, it's become abundantly clear that whenever they do even remotely try to tackle something on their own, they are shit.
And the only thing that I personally really did this week was I did go to see the Flash movie.
Oh, you bitch.
Yep.
Oh, I'm disappointed in you, Rick.
Yeah. After basically thinking, nah, there's no way I'm gonna enjoy this, we went to see it, and they copied Steingate's homework badly. And the CGI in the fight was sus. It looked like someone's first attempt at making a game. And yeah, shame on Ezra Miller.
Shame on you for giving them money, Rick.
I'm sure it doesn't count, but we basically got 3 people in for £4.
It doesn't count. It's still they still get them numbers.
Yep. But yep, they lost their $200 billion.
I think everyone can agree. Good.
Mm-hmm. Which is almost exactly the advertising budget.
But yeah, I should probably stress to people that, hey, when things are awful and they shouldn't generate income or anything, you shouldn't watch them, not even to hate watch them, because they don't care for the reason you're watching it. All they care about is that people are watching it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the Emoji Movie made money.
It is, but at least that was, everyone knew, at least that one wasn't actively involving criminals.
Yeah.
Well, except for the usual Hollywood criminals.
And, the time that they showed it instead of the coronation on Channel 5.
It wasn't the coronation, it was the funeral.
Or the funeral, yeah, there we go.
Like, you shouldn't force kids to watch this you shouldn't force anyone to watch this bullshit. Britain's a weird country where we'll look at countries like North Korea and other places with dictators and go, boy, that's weird. And then 2 seconds later, oh hell, our almighty leaders. Who we didn't vote for. Anyway, I didn't think I'd be fucking going off on this tangent today, but fucking blame the Emoji Movie.
Yep. Blaming the Emoji Movie, which again is a tangent from Ezra Miller and The Flash. Man, oh boy. I just wanted to punch that character in the face so much. Even, like, I could stop thinking about him doing crimes for short amounts of time and still wanted to punch the character in the face. Didn't help that there were 2 of him. So he was basically acting against himself, even admitting to annoying himself in the story. Yeah, it was a very punchable time. Weirdly, my folks loved it.
Well, they probably don't know any of the backstory, and I'm sure it was a spectacle as far as, fancy film bullshit goes, but, if you know any of the backstory, you really shouldn't support this movie.
Yeah. I was moaning about the animation, like, the thing that comes to my mind is when Supergirl was doing fighting.
Didn't even know Supergirl was in the movie.
Yeah. It's a Red Sun Supergirl.
I can fuck off then, can't it?
Yeah, and... Okay, spoilers for the movie.
No one cares. No one's gonna see it.
The only active superheroes in the timeline that he goes to are a retired Batman who has cleaned up Gotham so thoroughly that there is no longer crime and it's the safest city in the world, so he's retired. And a Supergirl who is in a containment field in Russia because Clark Kent didn't survive the trip away from Krypton. No other metahumans exist. And when they go to defeat General Zod, who is the only other metahuman that, matters, mirroring the Henry Cavill Superman movie events. They need Batman and Supergirl to fight him, and they both keep dying over and over again as the Flash keeps traveling back to try and save them. The Steins Gate copied homework moment.
That's not even Steins Gate, that's just vanilla bog standard bullshit time travel. Like, Steins Gate did it particularly well. I don't blame you for using it as an example, but let's not pretend Steins Gate invented that shit.
Oh no! But specifically the Steins Gate way of shifting onto a separate timeline and having to abide by the canon events that are about to happen on that timeline, and then he basically creates a third timeline also out of selfishness, and seems to have just let that be going forward. But I don't know. We don't know.
And guess what? I don't care.
Have you heard of Glorbo?
I've heard of Garbo.
So Glorbo is something that people on Reddit made up.
Oh, I have heard of this.
Yeah, it's a fake update to World of Warcraft that people on Reddit were getting excited about, and they knew that it was fake. They were doing it as a tongue-in-cheek thing, and then after they generated enough buzz, an AI scraped the things that they had said and turned it into an article. And then when the article was ridiculed, the AI owners labelled it a satire before eventually just deleting it completely.
Like, just fucking... Here's the thing that I've always said with the use of AI. I feel like I toe the line between both extreme stances. I feel like I'm a real middle of the road type of person in that I don't think AI should be stealing content from people, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I also think that if AI is applied correctly, there's no harm in using it. Like using it for background animation work on a movie, like doing backgrounds over and over again from art that an artist has already made specifically for the film, I think it's a perfectly fine application of it. And it's just one of those where we all know that the problem is if it's not regulated and there's no oversight to it, corporate greed is going to ruin the technology for everyone.
Yeah, greed will win. And that also comes down to the legislation phase, that greed will win at the legislation phase. There will be a lot of very interested money men who can just throw money at the problem and make sure that nothing actually happens in terms of meaningful legislation.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I lean towards the groups of people going no AI rather than freedom of AI, because as much as yes, again, the tools are great, it's gonna save a lot of time and potentially do interesting things artistically, so long as artists have access to it and they own their work still. One of the problems is, like, we've seen it time and time before, where people are using these AI art generators and it's stealing bits and pieces of artwork that, has been done by other people without credit. And I think one of the most important things when sharing AI generated works is transparency, in that you state that, yes, this was done by an AI. Like, I think one of the most annoying things that annoys people, I should say, rather, I worded that poorly, but you'll know what I mean, is you see a piece of artwork, you read a piece of writing, you see XYZ thing, and you're like, oh, that's good. And then you find out that actually no human being worked on that at all, and it's like, well, all right. Like, just put something on there that's like, I didn't work on this. I got a machine to do it for me.
Yeah, like when you're reading an AI generated article, you can very easily tell it's got the structure of beginning, middle, end. When you're looking at an AI generated art piece, you can tell by the number of fucking fingers. It's never correct.
It's why I was kind of annoyed by the Secret Invasion thing, because I felt like people were really getting pissed off at AI being used at all, whereas in that particular example, no, it was used in the way that I would like to see AI be used. The artwork was made by the studio, by a human, and they used the AI to fuck it up and make it look weird.
Yeah, so all of the art for that sequence was created and owned by Disney for that sequence.
Yeah, they paid people to make the art, and they used the AI to distort it and make it look alien.
Yeah. It's
a perfect application of the tool.
Yeah. Hogs of War has a Kickstarter that's starting possibly now by the time you're listening to it on the podcast. They're aiming for £150,000. They're aiming for a PS4 and PS5 release, and the stretch goals include online mode and a PC port.
Full disclosure, Hogs of War is near and dear to my heart. It was a very treasured childhood game of mine. I loved the shit out of that game. But £150,000 isn't a lot. This Kickstarter route they're doing is quite clearly what a lot of Kickstarters do, and they're using it to prove to an actual investor that there's enough interest to warrant them putting money into it, because there's no way they're doing it for that little amount of money.
Oh, no.
That being said, I feel like if this game does not get, 1, a PC port, and 2, online functionality, it's fucking pointless.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, they're basically gonna live and die by what they're classing as stretch goals.
Yeah. Like, no offense to the guys involved, because, like, I would love more people to experience and play this game. There's a few caveats as well. I'm pretty sure a lot of the original audio is going to be gutted and removed removed, because a lot of it is super offensive.
Yeah, it was a bit problematic.
Even at the time, back in the year 2000 or 1999, I forget which, it's an old fucking game, they put on the cover, this game is not very PC. And that was before PC was a thing.
Yeah. It's back when political correctness gone mad was a catch-all term for people wanting to be racist and being slapped on the wrist. It had the late great Rick Mayall as the voiceover guy.
50-50. I learnt through recent years that Rick Mayall did like 60% of the voices and some other chap did the rest.
This is actually, because I never saw Monty Python, this is the first time I heard the Monty Python theme, so for me it was always the Hogs of War theme.
Yeah, it's actually a classical piece of music called Liberty Bell.
Sure.
I want to point out, when we say racist, it's not even racist towards who you think it's going to be racist towards. It's racist towards everybody in Europe.
They very much do caricatures of the different peoples that they represent, all represented as pigs. What they've shown on the Kickstarter page looks like a reasonable proof of concept. Like, it looks like they've done a reasonable job at recreating what was pretty much the bare bones of the PS1 game, although it will need a lot more polish than that if it's going to sell well.
We won a free Carvery and then we were turned away because it was Sunday. They didn't want to give away free Carveries on Sunday, so we went back during the week.
For those of you who don't know, because you're either not in the UK or you don't eat meat or some other reason, carveries in the UK usually charge extra on a Sunday.
Yeah, they charge £1 extra on Friday and Saturday and £2 extra on Sunday, just because they can fill the place without trying.
Yeah, because it's a Sunday, people want a Sunday roast and can't be asked to cook.
Yeah, I did hear a pretty ridiculous complaint. Someone just going up to one of the waitstaff and going, "Excuse me, have you got any cauliflower cheese?" And before waiting for an answer, "Because it's Sunday."
I don't understand.
As if the day gave them some righteous fury in...
It's Sunday and I must have me cauliflower cheese. It's the only thing that'll keep me regular.
Yeah.
What the fuck kind of complaint? Like, I get it. Like, cauliflower cheese is a regular side to have offered at a carvery, but righteous fury over the lack of cauliflower cheese? Even saying it makes me giggle.
Yeah, and the other thing was, this is the first time I've ever seen mac and cheese served alongside a gravy dinner.
Oh, okay, so at the Toby, the Toby Carvery is a fairly big chain across the UK.
Yeah, these are the Toby ones, yeah. It's a standard now, but last time I went was like mid-2000s.
But yeah, mac and cheese has always been a side. We've got one friend who gets mac and cheese, pops it on his plate, and then pours gravy over the mac and cheese, and I don't really like mac and cheese, but that seems like sacrilege.
Yeah, I also feel the same way about people that put gravy on things like I don't like cauliflower, so I don't eat cauliflower cheese. But putting gravy on cauliflower cheese also seemed like a waste of both things.
Yeah, like it feels like like you're gonna kill one of the flavors. So what's the point?
And I also don't agree with putting, jam... Okay, I don't mind jam on meat. What I don't like is jam and gravy on meat.
See, I find jam on meat very odd. However, I'm then thinking, oh, well, you got cranberry during Christmas, and when you look at mint, that's basically jam.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, like mint sauce, apple sauce, cranberry sauce. I count these all as jam and think that they shouldn't go in gravy.
Well, you're talking to someone who, if I'm not making the gravy myself at home, or having my mother make the gravy because she makes good gravy, I don't actually have gravy. I don't like Toby gravy. I have my food dry. I have a shit ton of stuffing to make up for it.
Sure.
But because I don't have gravy, the people I go with usually go, how can you eat that without gravy? And it's like, very easily. You're watching me.
Yeah, Toby, they've also got the onion pot.
Oh.
So if you want to get your own small amount of onion gravy, you can just dip the ladle in and get some onions out of that.
Boy, what a thrilling segment for the podcast. Last on my list of personal things is something I know you also did independently of me, and that was Helluva Boss Series 2, Episode 6 came out, and we both watched it.
Yeah, we both liked it.
I like this a lot more than the last episode. Not the last episode, sorry, the episode before last? Shit. Yeah, the episode before last, the one where they went to camp.
I think it might be the strongest one this season.
I think this is the best episode since the Dork episode.
Maybe.
I will put it on par with that, and that so far is my highlight of the Helluva Boss episodes.
Yeah. I think it's definitely, I think, the strongest this season.
Oh yeah, Country Mile.
The only one that even comes close is the wait, he can be hurt when it's Blitz versus Stryker again. When Stolas gets kidnapped.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Although I think I preferred the episode of Via getting lost in LA to the cowboy episode.
Sure.
But yeah, I've always leaned more towards the fluffy side of shit, so, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wasn't a fan of the camp episode. I even said so during our quote-unquote mini review, where it was like, it was cringe on purpose. That was the type of humour they were going for that episode, and that's fine, but I don't like it. But yeah, we got an episode that focused on Fizzaroli, more or less.
Yeah, we did. Which, like, I wasn't expecting it, and, like, yes, we needed it, but I wasn't expecting it.
Okay, that's really funny, because I have to go on Twitter to promote every single fucking podcast we do, and all Vivian has tweeted about before this episode came out was how it's definitely about Fizzaroli.
Sure.
So I knew we were getting Fizz, but yeah, it's a very pleasant surprise in the sense that, fuck me, Blitz actually reconciled with someone.
Yeah, and, like, didn't snark his way out of a win.
I don't know, he almost fucked it up at the end, where it's like, is it weird if we make out right now?
Yeah, he does have a habit of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, even when he's, you know, actually pretty good at what he does.
Yeah. I remember telling you I was very bugged by Fizzaroli's voice, because I'm like, I swear I've heard that before, and I told you the Broadway musical Beetlejuice, the guy from that, it sounded like him, and then I did an IMDb check, and it's like, oh, it sounded like him because it fucking is him.
Yes.
Which, by the way, if you've not seen that guy sing as Beetlejuice, it's like it's called like being just a being dead thing or something. It's a really fucking funny song.
Good shit. Man, the only person I can like think of off the top of my head as a Broadway singer is Josh Gad being the first. He's the first Arnold Cunningham in Book of Mormon, and he ended up being Olaf in Frozen.
Awesome. Two things I've not seen.
Yeah, but you've absorbed Frozen.
I'm aware it exists. I wasn't aware Olaf ever sang in it.
Oh yeah, he does. But yeah, you have osmosis Frozen.
Technically speaking, I've watched Frozen because they played all the main bits in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Including giving you the entire Let It Snow song.
Yes.
I was absolutely flabbergasted while in the middle of playing Kingdom Hearts fucking 3, it started playing Let It Snow, and I'm like, okay, fair enough, this song's pretty popular. 3 minutes later, I'm still watching Let It Snow, and I'm like, they're playing the whole fucking song! Fuck me. Oh.
Yup.
But yeah, Huluva Boss. Good episode. Personal highlight of mine. I really enjoyed it. Which is, to be honest with you, par for the course for us. I don't think we've ever seen an episode and gone, hated it, don't know what they were thinking. Because even the camp episode had moments in it that were like, I don't hate it.
Like, I personally, I watched this just before getting on the plane, so
well, there you go.
It was basically the last fun thing I did before turning into a personal, private, miniature baby star.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Speaking of songs, the Distraction song was so fucking funny.
It was great.
I absolutely loved when Blitz was like, I'm gonna need another 60 seconds, and Fizz is just like, fuck!
I'm running out of things to say.
Okay, I actually watched this episode again with subtitles on, because they put the subtitles on, and they subtitle the fucking Italian he sings, and it's just him talking about fucking lasagna and different flavours of lasagna. It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, lasagna, cannoli, botticelli.
And the thing that someone pointed out as well that made me chuckle is the gangsters are meant to be Italian gangsters, so they know he's speaking gibberish, but they're still transfixed.
Yeah, because like even someone who's heard of these things before, like it's bollocks, and yet it's still entertaining.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts on episode 6, season 2?
I don't think so. But other than the fact that it's really cute to see Stolas and Azzy interact when Azzy is completely preoccupied and Stolas is just helping.
Am I insane? Or
it's actually kind of cute.
Is his name not Ozzy?
Oh, Ozzy, sorry. Yeah, but it's Asmodeus, isn't it? But it's Ozzy, yeah.
Yeah, but you say Oh, no, you do say Asmodeus. No, Osmodius is how it's pronounced.
Osmodius.
So,
okay.
Anyway, that's neither here. I was just making sure, because I could have sworn it was Ozzy, but yeah. Yeah. You speaking about that, I do think one of my highlights was after initially preventing...
Fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, paperwork.
I'm a very fast reader.
Oh, Stolas is adorable. I don't know how you can hate him. Like, yeah, cheating on his missus isn't great, but then you look at their relationship and you're like, yeah, I get it. And hey, they also highlight in this episode that Stolas isn't the only one hobnobbing someone, quote-unquote, beneath his station.
Yes.
I did like the...
Fizzaroli is also essentially kept as a sex pet.
They make it kind of clear that there's more going on there, and the fact that they're masquerading as him being a sex pet because it's not socially acceptable.
And at the end, it's like, yeah, you want to talk about it? Yeah, you're going to have to answer to me. I'll rip your fucking ankles off.
Yeah, it was, they're having a bit of a heartfelt cuddle while he's coddling Fizzaroli as he's walking to his office, and Fizz is just like, oh, what'll people say? It's like, oh, don't worry, baby, I'll fucking kill them!
But yeah, how about you? Any last thoughts?
No,
I've been playing Disgaea 7. I think you have as well by this point.
Yeah, you basically convinced me to buy it last week.
I'd say the one complaint I've got about it is that there isn't very much variation in the music, so it's very easy to get like 2 tracks stuck in your head.
I suppose. I'm not really a big fan of Disgaea music anyway, so you can imagine the conversation we had behind the scenes when Rick suggested for our theme tune, it sounds like Disgaea, and I was just kind of like, fine, because I just wanted it to be over with. But yeah, I can make quite a few complaints about Disgaea 7 if I'm being brutally honest, but it's one of those. I don't like the changes they've made to the item world. I don't like this thing. I don't like the hell gas for the automated maps. I feel like it's such a waste.
Yeah, like either have the thing or don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it feels like the amount that you get for doing normal maps is so negligible, and you don't start accumulating until like chapter 6 or something.
Yeah, I can't remember what chapter you start getting it at, but yeah, it's bothersome. I thought it was 1 litre of gas for one map. It's not. It's 1 litre of gas per turn. So if you're using the automated system to grind up low-level characters, which is what I do, you're going to burn through it very quick.
Mm-hmm. If you're boosting up low-level characters, I feel like the only real way to do it is stick them in the 10% XP thing.
Yep.
And do it that way. Just power level Ieyasu and just have him do a massive big Gigastar, kill a bunch of dudes, and then everyone levels up.
I will say this, it shouldn't come as a surprise, but as usual, the Disgaea 7 cast is quite colourful. I wasn't expecting to get the little robot fella so early.
No, me either.
When I saw him, I was like, you are clearly a party member. However, I didn't expect to get him halfway through the game.
I think you pretty much recruit the entire cast, like, before the end of Chapter 6. Like, I don't think there's anyone else other than, like, super endgame stuff.
Yeah, I think there's one character that we've yet to recruit, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get them until the end.
Do they have a very short name?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can just spoil it. Like, she shows up at the end of Chapter 1, dude.
She's the reason that Perillica is actually having an issue for the most of the game. Is that she knocked down a castle and Perillica got blamed.
Yeah, man. Yeah. My favourite chapter was the fighting tournament. It was so fun, story wise.
Yeah, it was kind of funny to see someone be a knockoff of Void Dark.
Oh, yeah, Crimson Dude.
Yeah, Crimson Dark is just a recolor of Void Dark.
Yeah. But yeah, Rick, let's talk about the thing we've both actually watched and we could talk about at length. Rick, Aluva Boss Season 2, Episode 7 came out.
Yep, this is cementing this entire season as the Fizzaroli season, and I'm all for it.
I don't know if being the focus of 2 episodes makes it the Fizzaroli season, but go on.
Well, like, the fact that it's 2 in a row kind of makes it, it draws attention to it. I liked this episode, maybe not as much as the one that came before it, but yeah, it does feel like, they got the Beetlejuice guy, as in Fizzaroli's voice actor, to do more songs. So I had to write an episode around that. But yeah, it was good. It was a good bit of fun. And I didn't think they were going to top the 2 Bitches song, but they did.
You bringing up the 2 Bitches just reminded me that in between, just before you sent me the link saying, oh, this is out by the way, I realised Taluva Boss was out because there was just sexy fan art of those 2 characters, and I was like, this is weird. Why is this always happening to me, Rick?
You find things out because you got inundated by things on Twitter.
Oh, it's not even Twitter, it's Reddit that's the problem. Those people are fucking horny.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, we finally met Mammon. That makes what? 3 of the deadly sins we've met? 4 if you count Lucifer from Has Been?
Mammon being voiced by Michael Cusack.
Yeah, I told you you'd recognise the voice.
Yeah.
He might have had the best joke of the entire episode. It was right at the beginning where he goes, you're going to have to try really hard because, as we all know, women can't be funny. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, in the faintest writing possible, written by Vivian Madrano.
Yeah, and it just disappears almost immediately after that. It's great.
Yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster. It's one of those where I enjoyed the episode. It was as fun as it was a very generic plot.
Yeah, the conversation frustrated me.
Which one? Because it happened 4 times.
Oh, yeah, and I know, right? Like, the whole idea of, I have to do this for me, because otherwise, like, I'm gonna feel like I'm a failure and nothing. Like, that should basically have been the way that it went, and that should have been okay. It's okay to want to do something for yourself, especially when you're wanting to go out on your own terms. This conversation ended up happening, like, 4 times during the entire episode, like you say. So, yeah, it was a bit frustrating.
You and I are on slightly different wavelengths with the way you worded it, because I get where they're coming from a little bit, because the whole reason why he's being compelled is because Mammon is a manipulative piece of shit.
Yes.
And the other characters can see that, but Fizz can't. From that perspective, I understand why why Fizz's friends are being persistent, because, anyone with eyes and who is removed from the situation can see how fucked up it is. It's just, as far as watching a story unfold, it's very frustrating seeing the same conversation 5 times.
Yes.
It was still a good episode, and like I said, when I say the plot's generic, it's just like, there's a episode in every fucking show ever, which is famous person is really sick of the obligations of being famous.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like sour grapes from people who are in the industry and can basically use media as a way to vent their frustrations. But it's a case of like, oh no, my third Ferrari got its tires muddy. Whatever shall I do?
Obviously, the difference here is the fact that it's in hell and literally having sex toys sold of him, which is kind of fucked up.
Yes.
Oh, the incel in this episode was too real.
Oh, he was. I think he's possibly the character that has both most deserved to die, and people have shed basically nobody will shed a tear over this guy.
I'm getting flashbacks to She-Hulk, where the people that the show was taking the piss out of were the most vocal about going, why are you taking the piss out of this? Because you're evil.
Yep.
Man, I think the most real part, though, was when he was first introduced and he got told to fuck off in both polite terms and unpolite terms, and then immediately went from praising Fizzaroli to, oh, your show sucks anyway, and I'm like, that's the realest fucking reaction I've ever seen from those freaks.
Yeah, and it's not even just fans either. It's like that kind of person will behave that same way for people that they're trying to flirt with.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm calling them an incel.
Yeah.
I bought you a drink. Thanks. Will you sleep with me? No. Well, you're fucking ugly anyway.
Yep.
That's literally how the conversation goes.
Yep. Fucking silly.
And it would be funnier if it didn't turn to murder.
Yes. The Order of Yoni is a Polish company, and Sanskrit is the word for vulva, is partnering with Amaranth to make beer from her own personal yeast culture.
Amaranth the band?
No, Amaranth the hot tub streamer.
Oh, I don't know who the fuck this is then. Go on. Sorry, I thought you meant the band, and I was like, what? This is a weird story, but go on then.
Yeah, she is I believe the highest paid female streamer in the world, based basically on her Twitch numbers that she pulls. And, I mean, she's attractive, but she has a lot of parasocial fans. And, yeah, she's banking on their thirst in a more literal sense than usual.
Yeah, I don't like using... Whenever we're talking about a human being contributing their own personal yeast, my mind immediately goes to the downright disgusting.
I mean, yes, yeah. That's what the company does. They have their main page is like 5 attractive-looking models, and you can buy beer from their collection, as it were.
That's really, really gross. But I wish I could say this is the first time this sort of thing came up, because I still remember the Gamer Girl bathwater incident.
I mean, I think it was her.
That was Belle Delphine, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, Belle Delphine, yeah.
Who I don't know anything about, I just know the name.
I think you can still buy a jar of Amaranth's farts, so that's fun.
Is it fun, Rick? Is it fun? Like, I'm not gonna judge people on their fetishes. God knows I've fucking seen some weird stuff on the internet, but fucking paying someone you don't know who looks mildly attractive so you can purchase a jar full of their farts seems like a bridge too far. Like, go outside, have a walk. Don't jack off for like a week. Maybe clear your head. Like, that's not That's not normal.
Yeah, it's dodgy, to say the least. Is Athena a full-on god? I think she is, isn't she?
Yes. It's really worrying that you have to ask this question, Rick.
Dude, I don't know my mythology.
Yeah, but come on, Greek gods, they're pretty fucking easy.
Okay, what part of me is Greek?
You never fucking did anything that touched upon the Greek pantheon, ever. You never played a video game or watched a TV show that mentioned them.
Nope, you've played Hades, I haven't.
Okay, but I knew about most of them before Hades. The only one I didn't really know was Dionysus, because I always called him Bacchus, because that's the Roman one.
Yeah. But yeah, all I know about them is when someone uses one of the names for a character that's clearly not that character.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Looking at you, Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking the piss. I've never watched or read Percy Jackson. I just know it involves the Olympian gods.
Yep. Isn't he meant to be like Zeus or something?
Rick, I don't know. I just said I haven't watched or read it.
Well, now the boot's on the other foot. Like, this is how I feel.
Have you watched or read it? No, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's why I was needing to confirm. Like, I don't fucking know. I don't know anything about this mythology.
I'm going to spoil side content, because I'll leave the story nice and easy for you. Although,
Sure.
considering Doc Ock was the villain of the first game and the villain of this game was Venom, I'm not going to give you any prizes for guessing who the villain of Spider-Man 3 is going to be.
Yep.
They did some real fun stuff with the side content, mostly because it deals with villains that you don't deal with in the game, but are quite clearly either going to be in the DLC or in the next game.
Mm-hmm.
There's an entire side story that involves Mysterio, and it's literally just him going straight, and it's awesome.
Kind of cute, actually.
There's a really late game side quest, and I was like, I don't understand where this is going. Oh, guess what? It's because it's setting up the Chameleon.
Okay.
The only other side content I want to talk about, because I did not expect the reveal, and I feel really stupid for not seeing it. There's this entire cult of fire weirdos, and the very last mission, they reveal that what they were after was a secret fucking Osborn thing, or Oscorp piece of tech, and that thing was another symbiote, and I was like, no, that's weird. Why is they doing this? And then the main guy from the Fire Guys picks up the symbiote. Oh look, the symbiote's red, and they said there will be carnage, and then they fucked off, and I'm like, what is this game doing? But after the mission, the person you did the mission with just goes, oh, they've had like several aliases, and like the last alias they say is Cletus Cassidy, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now that makes all the sense as to why you didn't say this fucker's name before now.
Yeah, because saying the name spoils the thing.
It was a good reveal, I liked it. I will say no more about Spider-Man. Play that game if you have a PlayStation, because it's a good fucking game. Rick, we finally got some new information on the Godzilla game.
Do we? Okay.
Yeah, it's the most disappointing thing I've ever fucking read, because once again, the people making Godzilla stuff don't know what Godzilla fans want.
Oh, are they focusing on the goddamn humans?
You get to play as a human trying to survive in a post-Godzilla vs. Kong fight.
What? Why? Oh, Jesus Christ. Why would anybody want that?
Well, people like The Last of Us, and that's all about surviving.
Okay. But why would you want a Godzilla version of it when the word Godzilla is there?
The thing that made me laugh as well is it specified that just after the Godzilla vs. Kong fight, and it's like, the city was barely destroyed in that fight.
I knocked down 2 buildings. You happen to be from one of them.
It's stupid. It really is. The last Godzilla game that came out that I bought was literally, you pick a kaiju, you rampage through Tokyo, sometimes you fight another kaiju.
Yeah, man. Just having a game just called Kaiju Tokyo Rampage just sounds like a better time.
I mean, there are games like that. It's just, unfortunately, they use unlicensed monsters, which, they're fun, but it's not as fun when you're playing as quite clearly Godzilla, but the game refuses to say Godzilla.
Yeah, you're playing as Baxcalibur. Yeah, the Pogues and like the fairy tale in New York is basically synonymous with it's like the anti-Christmas Christmas song, you know?
I think it's my favourite Christmas song, and apparently a lot of the nation agrees, because yesterday people wouldn't shut the fuck up about, apparently on ITV2 back in 2012, it was voted the nation's favourite Christmas song. And I think that's because they don't put it in the fucking Christmas loop in supermarkets, so you don't get sick of it.
Yeah. Last time I think I heard it as a Christmas song in a Christmas, on the Christmas loop, was in Poundland, of all places.
And weirdly, this song has been full of controversy, hasn't it, Rick?
Yeah. Enlighten the viewers.
Oh, well, both the characters in the song swear a lot, because, and I say swear, they use the word faggot, they use the word slut, and they use the word arse.
Yeah.
But contextually, They're all fine.
Yeah, 2 of them are in the same line as well. You scumbag, you maggot, you cheap lousy faggot. Merry Christmas, your ass. And yeah.
Yeah, it's a story. That's another thing I keep having to mention on the show is I like songs that tell stories, and Fairy Tale of New York is very definitely a story just being sung.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the controversy I was talking about specifically was BBC One played a censored version from like 95 to like 2001, which only BBC One enforced, because BBC Radio 1 enforced, because on BBC Radio 2 and Radio 3 they didn't. It's so fucking weird to read about because it makes no sense, and it's one of those like if you listen to the song, I don't see why you could be offended by it, because you know it makes sense for the song.
Yeah, totally.